Terence Crawford will be full of excuses after ERROL Spence Jr., just like KAMBOSOS after Hayne. Alright, y'all, so, I've been watching a few videos preparing for the George Kambosos Devin Haney fight tonight, and I heard something interesting that I wanted to touch on. It was basically coming from Devin Haney's father. He was basically saying that Team Kambosos was full of excuses after they got beat because they didn't properly prepare for the skill sets of Devin Haney, and they thought that they would just walk through Haney like they walked through Teofimo Lopez. And that's the problem sometimes with boxing, is that because, this is a physical sport, a violent sport, when you start inflicting violence upon people, you think you can do it to everybody. It becomes like a second nature, just something you turn on and off like a light switch, Same way with basketball, football, just different sports, Boxing is an individual sport, like Devin Haney's father said, and basketball, football, these are all team sports. You have to be able to get along with people and coexist with players and people you might not even like. Where in boxing, it's more physical. You can go in there and impose your will on your opponent, and there's really not a lot he can do about it. So I totally agree with Devin Haney's father that, preparation is key. I said that in my video yesterday, that preparing for a fight is more important than even getting the fight. If you don't prepare right, you're going to lose anyway, so why does it even matter? But, when it comes to ERROL Spence and Terence Crawford, I think you're going to have the same thing, because Terence Crawford's been so used to imposing his will on his opponent. He's been used to getting his way all this time. He seems kind of like a diva with the whole contract negotiation process. He doesn't seem like he likes working with people or compromising. In the negotiation process, it's all about compromise. You can get close to what you want a lot of the times, or you cannot get anything at all. It depends on how good you can compromise. I don't think Terence Crawford is very good at compromise, and I don't think Terence Crawford is going to be the greatest at adjusting to what ERROL Spence brings to the table, because I think Terence Crawford, being the older fighter, thinks that what he does is all he needs to do. I think he probably feels like he doesn't need to change anything within his repertoire. He doesn't need to develop anymore. He doesn't need to expand his skill sets any at this point. And, I think when most athletes get to a certain age, they stop developing. They just become better at what it is that they do. They don't add a new trick into the arsenal. They don't refine a skill set or anything like that. They just kind of stick with what they know. And a lot of times that's to the detriment of a lot of athletes, because growth is the key to everything. You got to be able to grow. You got to be able to work hard behind the scenes. You have to be able to evolve. You have to be able to train hard. And you have to be able to do what George Kambosos is doing now, which is listening instead of talking all the time. And I think it's going to be a different fight tonight, but I also believe that Devin Haney is the more skilled out of those two. Like, he has the better skill sets. He's the more purist boxer. But we all saw what George Kambosos did to Teofimo Lopez, so don't get it twisted. He's a fighter. He can fight when he wants to. Sometimes your game plan, and this is what I meant by Terence Crawford not evolving. George Kambosos didn't evolve from the Teofimo Lopez fight. Teofimo Lopez and Devin Haney are two totally different types of fighters. Teofimo Lopez, I think, was a hype job. He was all talk, I think he talked his way into a victory over Vasyl Lomachenko. Now, Vasyl Lomachenko did say he was hurt, but, in boxing, you don't get too many excuses in boxing. In basketball, you can roll an ankle, and everybody believes that you're hurt for 2.5, 3 weeks, 4 weeks. You might sit out those games, and everybody will believe it. Football, same thing. Baseball, same thing, but for some reason in the most violent sport out there, even wrestling, like people believe wrestlers are really injured when they say they're injured, even though it's just a written in storyline. But when a boxer says I'm injured, I hurt myself doing training or something of that nature, then everybody calls it a lie or a duck, or he's fabricating something, you know, false information, all this type of crap. But the truth is, he's probably really just hurt. And unfortunately in boxing, that you don't get no outs for that. But at the end of the day, I think excuses, when it's all said and done, when Errol Spence and Terence Crawford do actually get in the ring together, excuses are going to be a big part of whoever loses. Whether it's Errol Spence or Terence Crawford, even though I'm riding with Errol Spence to win the fight, you know, if Errol Spence loses, you're going to hear a ton of excuses come from Errol Spence's camp. They might say it was too hot in Texas to win. Could be anything. But I think it would be more coming from Terence Crawford. I think you're going to hear a lot of excuses from Crawford. And I think a lot of it, and a lot of the blame is going to be based off the fact he didn't evolve to the skill sets that Errol Spence brings to the table. I think people don't think that Errol Spence Jr. is a good boxer for some reason. I don't know why. This is the sport of boxing. They're all boxing. They're all professional boxers. So why wouldn't you believe the man's a good boxer? Now, Terence Crawford could have better skill sets than Errol Spence, but don't make him a better boxer. You could be a more purist boxer, which means you just stick to the tactics that people define the word boxing off of. Basically just working off the jab, working off the jab. Or, I don't even know what people mean when they say that he's a better boxer, because they're both boxers. They just have different skill sets. So I think that when Terence Crawford, he's going to have to evolve to win this fight. There's going to have to be something new added to his arsenal to take down Errol Spence. And it can't be just, I went and got bigger to absorb punches. You're going to have to add something new, because Errol Spence is a great puncher. He knows how to use distance. He has probably the best jab in the welterweight division, and he can land with power. And the thing that Errol Spence does the best that people don't even realize is that Errol Spence knows how to move without exerting a lot of energy. And this is the reason he has that mummy type of movement that he does, which I don't like. I think the only person that cannot work well against is Manny Pacquiao, because he moves so much. You kind of have to slow Pacquiao down, force him to slow down to beat him. Floyd Mayweather was able to do. Errol Spence doesn't possess that weird Mayweather style of defense, so I don't think he would be able to bring that to the table. He's a slow pressure fighter, and it's all based off the opponent coming to him. Manny Pacquiao, he moves so much, I think it would be difficult for Errol Spence to keep up with the punch output of Manny Pacquiao. I think that's how Pacquiao would actually beat him. As far as Terence Crawford goes, man, I think there are going to be a lot of excuses once this fight goes down. Sean Porter said he's looking at January. Me personally, I think we might get a December 31st, New Year's Eve fight date, and I'm hoping that's what they decide to go with. Good luck to George Kambosos, man. I like Kambosos. Good luck to Devin Haney tonight. Good luck to Deontay Wilder, Clarissa Shields, all the fights that are going down tonight. I hope everybody survives and makes it out safe. Don't want to see nobody get severely or permanently damaged, but there's going to be some fireworks tonight. And best believe Terence Crawford will be full of excuses after his loss to Errol, the Truth, Spence Jr. And we are Manny.
I ain't even got to do too much talking, because I know what's going to happen come Saturday.
Yeah. Is you ready for me? 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 Nigga. Spotless. Check it. Check it.